Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I was reminiscing about some rather ingenious tactics I've seen people use over the years. And this is on a meta scale. It's not really a one-on-one thing, but it's things that people in groups did to make sure that they would be noticed and paid attention to. For no particular reason, I'm going to start way back when Silverlight was in a university, the first time. This is back in 94, 95, that sort of thing, so gay rights and the LGBTQ community were really in their infancy. They were definitely extant. They they were around campus, absolutely for sure. And they were trying to conduct kind of a gay pride awareness day, whatever you want to call it. I had heard about it here and there, and their genius idea was, if you want to show support for they said gay community, so I'm going to stick with their original wording. If you want to show support for the gay community, wear blue jeans on whatever day it was. I say that's genius for two reasons. One, most people there wore blue jeans anyway. Secondly, they didn't really put posters up or anything until the day of. So you walked onto university campus and that's when you found out about it. As I said, I'd heard some rumbling, some stirring. It was rumor. And I didn't really think anything of it. Now keep in mind, I'm a child of the 80s and a little bit of the 70s. And there was intense homophobia going around back then. So they had to fight against that. And this is a way to, I don't want to say misrepresent, but a way to convince people to support them. And I was hanging around, among other people, this 6'6", 300 pounds, none of it fat, rugby player. Now he was a homophobe. He would give me a ride into school every day, and I just had to buy him a coffee or a beer once a week or so, and he was happy. And we got there on this particular day, we came across one of these signs. Now I wasn't shocked by it because I'd heard the rumors, and I was wearing blue jeans because I didn't care. I wasn't the most enlightened person, but I'd reached that stasis point of they do their thing, I do my thing, I'm not going to argue with it. I would eventually expand to full acceptance, but at least I was at that point. My 6'6" rugby friend had a little meltdown. Oh my God, I gotta go home and change right away. I said, what? Why would you do that? He said, because I don't want people thinking that I support gay people. I said, okay, calm down. First of all, you're 6'6", 300 pounds. It's not like they're going to come out of the woodwork, abduct you, and do something to you. Trust me. And secondly, you're really going to drive an hour home and back just to change. And all these years later, I think, you play rugby and you didn't have a change of clothes on campus? Really? But that's neither here nor there. Or in your trunk, because I would think if you were a hockey player or a football player, you would naturally bring some sort of a change, because if you practice, you get hot and sweaty. It's that simple. I don't think it was winter. I think it was in spring or the fall months. I really can't remember because, like I said, it made no sense. This person didn't have a change with them. And this person listened to me, and they decided to just go about their day. Not saying hail to me for being some sort of champion of rights and stuff. I wasn't. I was just at the point of non interference. And the genius part was they took advantage of people who would knowingly have a choice. There were rumors. There was somehow I knew about this thing. I just didn't care. And maybe there were like signs up on the posts, which, you know those little university signs where there's 10 million, free tutoring available, help with your essay, come to the student center and meet Stephen King. We never got anybody nearly that cool in our university, but people walk by those things every day. They saw that, they had a strategy, and the strategy was blue jeans. Brilliant. You almost have to make an effort not to be included in it. Maybe some woman decides to wear a dress to feel pretty that day. Maybe some man decides to wear a suit because he wants to dress up that day. But it's a conscious choice. Most people at default are going to wear a t-shirt and blue jeans. So really, just well done. I can't help but all these years admire. Nowadays it would be germane, but hitting people up for blue jeans in an academic environment, just magnificent. You might want to say they're misrepresenting their numbers, and I'm saying, oh no, they gave people every opportunity. Like I said, I knew about it in advance. The second one was during the Oka crisis. Now, for those of you who are outside of Canada or born after 1993, you might not know what the Oka crisis was. In a nutshell, a developer came in and wanted to build a golf course. Now, this is a sneaky thing developers have been doing for years now. They come in, they take down some trees, and they put in a golf course. And then people say, well, it's still green, grass and stuff growing there, so it's not like they cut down a bunch of trees and put up a wastewater plant or whatever it is. So they have their golf course for 10, 20 years, whatever it is they think people are going to forget about it. Then they take the golf course out and they put houses there. So essentially, they're still ripping out trees and putting in houses. They're just doing it on a long enough term basis that people forget. I've seen this happen a few times. Heck, I've even participated because we had, side note, my father and I volunteered for a local organization, and we spent the weekend planting trees in this field somewhere around Georgetown. I forget where it was. They gave us a hot dog and a drink. We were out there. It was hot. It was sweating and it was stuff like that. But there was always water available. We planted a ton of trees, and 10, 15 years later, we decided to go back and look at them. They had all been chainsawed down and houses had been built. So this has happened to me personally. But let's get back to Oka. The First Nations at Oka had a bigger complaint. Because you see, this golf course was going in on one of their burial grounds. Yeah, whichever zoning department approved that one needs to give their head a shake. And the First Nations decided to take a stand. And they had armed men. I'm just going to say armed men because I can't identify the quality and everything from my memory and from the video records of that way back then. And they had a little standoff because Canada brought in the military to contain them. It wasn't a threat. It was just saying, okay, you protest inside of there. We're going to be here, just making sure nothing bad goes on. So, the military is an expensive thing, and Canada's notorious for penny pinching their military. So I can't say what the people at Oka did, but some supporters of theirs called up every armory in North America, Canadian, American. There's rumors that there's foreign bases on soil over here, and there probably are for training purposes. And they threatened to, can I say the word BOMB? Or is Facebook going to freak out at that? Whatever. They threatened to bomb each one of these places. Now, the reason why this is a genius move, remember, the Canadian Armed Forces are cheap. They don't want to spend any more than they absolutely have to. And now, suddenly, they have to have staff, armed staff, at each of their locations, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just in case somebody walks up with a lighter and a will to commit destruction. This puts pressure on Canada because they're suddenly spending money that was not in the budget. The United States, I don't know how much seriously took it, but again, it's a genius tactic. It's a few phone calls. Get a team of 5 or 10 people together. Long distance was still ridiculously expensive back then, but there were phone plans and stuff like that you could get it. There wasn't Google, but there are ways to get a hold of armed forces numbers. And that was it. Just by doing that, they brought the Canadian government to the negotiating table for the price of a couple phone calls. So let's survey the situation. You can have big, expensive ad campaigns. You can have, superstars on TikTok and whatever else saying, hey, I believe this, and the reason I do is because somebody paid me money to believe that. Or you can just have some smart people that are going to look and say, hey, here's an opening in the market. Here's something people are not expecting. And to exploit it. And it's way more effective. None of these tactics, hurt anybody. There was a threat of force in one of them, but it was never intended to be a real thing. The other one was exposing a topic for people that would normally not think about it. And all these years later, we can appreciate, hey, this is a landmark moment for a lot of intelligentsia who were just starting to come into their own. And they're both fantastic tactics. It's not asymmetrical warfare. It's not warfare at all. It's using your resources, your time, to the maximum benefit possible. A couple of years ago, actually it's about a decade ago, actually I think it's longer than that, I was a campaign manager for a local politician. Do you know what we did? We went door to door knocking. Good old fashioned, hello, this is Mr. So-and-so, and he's running for whatever, and these are his promises. Here's some brochures. Yeah, some people don't like answering the door. Some people are pleased that somebody's paying attention to them. But the remark that we got consistently was, this is the first time a politician has ever knocked on my door. This is, again, an effective resource. It takes time. We tried to do it ourselves, and afterwards I created a system where you would still have door knockers, but the political person themselves, the person running, didn't have to cover all that mileage. You would go into an area, gauge what the interest was like, and if there was a lot of interest, then you bring the political candidate in. So that way they're free to go do fundraising, they're free to go make appearances, and it's effective use of your resources. Here we are in the year of our Lord, or your Lord, or whatever, 2024. And we're being denied resources because it keeps us disempowered. When we're struggling to find food, we're going to struggle to find unity. We're going to struggle to figure out what we can do to make a difference. And the fact is, some things are always possible. The 1910s, 1920s, those workers were poor as dirt. They were working, 12, 13-hour shifts for 7 days of the week. Sometimes they would have Sundays off. And they effectively started striking. Striking was illegal at one point, like completely illegal, not just regulated, but completely illegal. But even though they were in a much more dire position than we are in today, they made it work. They used striking to deny their services to whoever it was that they were servicing, and that's how the world that we know today came about, with 5-hour work weeks and 8-hour work days. For the most part, there are a lot of jobs out there that don't follow that, but at least the blueprint was made. So we need that killer app in 2024 where people can effectively speak, be heard, and take advantage of something that's going to have to be reckoned with. I am not that person. I have the ideas. I don't know how to execute them. But I'm passing that on, hoping somebody who hears this just might do it. Use your minds, people. Together, a whole bunch of people with smart ideas can overcome anything. With that, we wish to thank you for joining us for the Silverlight Show, especially after our other topics this week. If you enjoyed this show, please like, share, because sharing is caring. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Don't forget to click the notification icon down below so that you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. And we hope you have a fantastic day.